Well, Alexander Titov is a political analyst on Russian foreign policy and also serves as a lecturer at the Queen's University in Belfast. He joins us now. Alexander, Turkey seems set on invading Afrin to rid it of the YPG. What do you think the reaction in Moscow will be?
Well, I don't think it will be a major concern in Moscow because basically, de facto, they already agreed to divide Syria into zones of influence, and they're kind of happy that Turkey exerts influence over area around its borders. So I don't think that'd be a major concern to Moscow.
What has the Russian relationship been with the YPG up to this point? Has it been supporting it?
I mean, they've been. I mean, YPG is not Russia's main ally in Syria. I mean, Syria is it's the Syrian government and the Iran. YPG been mostly allied with the United States, which Russia has very kind of tense relations as well. But I mean, they have kind of decent relations with them. But again, the YPG is not Russia's main ally or concern in Syria at the moment.
Do you think that Russia understands Turkey's problem with the YPG in terms of it being closely linked to the PKK?
I think they're very well aware of the kind of sensitive nature of the whole Kurdish question within Syria for Turkey, and I think that's essentially what we've been sort of discussing and dealing with in Astana and in other places, in other negotiations, to make sure that Turkish interests are looked after in the eventual settlement in Syria. I mean, Russia's main focus is not on YPG as such. It's on supporting the Assad regime and also kind of securing its bases in Syria, which has been recently under attack from Idlib province.
You spoke there about all sides agreeing to divide Syria up into zones of influence. On the surface, however, all sides, I'm talking the US, Iran, Russia, are all talking about a future Syria for Syrians, and that Syrians should decide the political future, the transition, indeed, if that means going to elections. So just explain to me what these zones of influence will look like going forward, in your opinion.
Well, first of all, I mean, there's still war is going on. I mean, there's a major offensive by Syrian army in Idlib province ongoing at the moment. So there is acceptance. What I'm talking about, there's acceptance that there won't be outright victory for either side. So some sort of compromise will have to be reached, but it's not stable at the moment. There's still a lot of uncertainty to be settled. Plus, of course, there are lots of actors which are not directly involved in this process. I mean, particularly various jihadist groups which are still on the ground in Syria. So the broad framework of a political settlement is still unclear. The fighting is still ongoing, but certainly there is acceptance that at some point there will be a need for a proper settlement, and this will involve controls of different areas in Syria by different forces, including YPG, because they're so closely aligned with Americans.
And just finally, do you think that the YPG has the means to make this a difficult task for Turkey, the ousting of them from Afrin?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not military expert. I would imagine Turkey has a kind of the strongest military in the region. They should be able to do it if they put their mind to it. I mean, the wider question is, obviously how it bodes with Americans, and who just announced recently that they were going to be training up to 30,000 of mainly Kurdish troops to sustain its control over the area it's been recaptured from ISIS. So I think militarily it should be fine for Turkey, but there's a wider political problem of what to do next in the long term.
All right, thank you so much for that analysis. That's Alexander Titov, a political analyst on Russian foreign policy.